Good to see you all. And welcome to the Centonomy Entrepreneur Chats. We are so grateful that you have given us your time this morning to share some of the experiences that we've had, to share some of the concerns that we have as entrepreneurs, and hopefully to have a discussion that will lift the state of entrepreneurship in our nation and this continent abroad. And today is a special one. I mean, like, it blows my mind that we're getting into this space where we'll have two facilitators or speakers today who are dialing in from across the world. I think we have somebody who is in Ethiopia this morning. We have someone else later on who's going to be dialing in from France, Paris in France, I believe somewhere, I think so. So it's going to be quite an interesting one. As always, we always do this in our sessions. I always ask, if you don't mind, in the chat box, kindly say hi and tell us where you are in the world. It gives some context to those who are going to be speaking to us, just so that we can be very careful. If it is a very East African affair, we'll have an East African discussion. If it is more of a global one, we'll have more of a global one. So it helps us, even as we get into this, to know. I can see Martin is there, all the way from Nigeria. Well done, Martin. That was the fastest response. Ibet is believing, and so is Rebecca, believing that Ongatorongai is somewhere that guys in France and Brussels will understand. But I appreciate that. Yes, Janet, all the way from Mombasa here in Kenya. But yes, those are all Kenyans. There we go. Hi, Brenda. How you doing? Jennifer, welcome. Joseph here in Kenya. Sylvia in Mombasa here in Kenya. Kakamega, lots of Kenyans in this room. Excellent. We are doing well as the numbers continue to grow. Welcome those who are joining us. We're so happy to have you here. Hi, Doreen, all the way from Tanzania. I told you this is an international event that you're part of. And what that means is that we're getting a perspective from across the world, okay? And the issues that entrepreneurs face in different markets are similar. We have products, we have services that we are trying to get into the market. Hi, Kenneth. We're trying to get into the market, and we want to see how to do that as efficiently as possible in order to bring the return that we expected. And that's the aim. Well done. Welcome, Winfred, Helen, Karibu Sana. Yes, Derek, all the way in Kericho here in Kenya as well. Tracy in Nairobi in Kenya. Most of those cities, for those who are outside of Kenya, if you see a city that you don't know or you're not familiar with, but I may be assuming that you have the geographical knowledge that I do. Maybe you have a higher geographical knowledge than I do. Fear not. Most of those are in Kenya, but the rest of us will find out where we are in the world. So welcome to the Centonomy Entrepreneur Chats. We're really happy to have you here with us. In case we've never interacted before, my name is Waithaka Gatumia, and I serve here at Centonomy as CEO, but I'll also be moderating and sharing some of the information during this session. I'm very glad to be here. If you are social media inclined, Paul Jenga, all the way in Philadelphia in the US, I told you, global. We are going to have a really powerful time. Hi, Victor in Israel. Very good. I told you, global experience. This is something that we had hoped for, worked towards, and prayed for here at Centonomy, and we are seeing the results of it over time. That will not just be speaking within our country, within our borders, but now we have reached out to different places. So welcome to everybody around you. So tools of the trade. If you're going to be in this session, you need a notebook next to you. You need a pen next to you. It's vital so that you're able to take notes and to follow through on the things that we're discussing here. If you do not have them, things will be said that will get lost around and that you won't be able to pick up on and follow up on. So tools of the trade, have something to write, something to take down your thoughts and the ideas that are going to be shared, and we're going to enjoy the session together. Centonomy, our mission is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people like yourselves who show up on a weekend like this, on a Saturday morning, well, Saturday, whatever time it is in your place, may not even be Saturday yet in some of the places that we're having here, on a weekend generally. I know it's the weekend period. to learn, to grow, and to build your businesses. That's a purposeful person. So our mission is to shift your mindset so that you can create wealth and live abundantly. That's our aim. So we start from that, and we start from the very beginning. So I want you to have your notes out. Get ready even as we discuss, is funding really the problem in business? Is it? And it starts off with the fundamentals when it comes to our business finance, and that's what we're going to have a discussion about. Hi, Anthony, all the way in Somalia, Mogadishu. Yeah, told you, international event. We're glad to have you here. So is funding really the problem? So it starts off at the very beginning of understanding how a business works, and we're becoming really focused on sharing this information so that we don't miss out. If you've never heard this before, this is the time to write it down. In fact, let me do a test. What is the aim of every business? Write it in the chat box real quick, because this is a good way to test whether this information is getting out or not. Joseph, no, that is not the aim of every business. I'm waiting to see if we'll get it. To provide services? No, 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 no. I know there's a bit of there's an existential discussion there when Dina says to solve a problem. Yes, we always come from that perspective, because if you solve a problem and you can be able to sell it, I agree with that, but that's not the aim. That's not the aim of the business. Solve a problem. Steve, Washington has got it. Unique. I hope I said that correctly. Kenyari, at least that one. Kenyari, at least that one, I think I can be able to say it properly. Hey, Sylvia has got it. Profit. The aim of every business is to generate a profit. So write that down so that those who came with other ideas, that's the difference. Because when you talk about giving a service, even non-for-profit organizations, NGOs, they want to offer a service or even a product that they're going to do. But the differentiating factor for businesses is to generate a profit. And that's significant. Because if you don't have that in the back of your mind, if that's not the ultimate on the financial end of it, I know we have the discussion around impact, around changing the world, about all those things are very good, but you cannot have impact if the business is not generating a profit. And if you're going in that direction of NGOs and other things, that's a different discussion. If you're in business, the primary or the focus of that business, that's what differentiates it from any other organization, a hobby or a plan or anything like that, is to generate a profit. Okay, to generate a profit. That's number one. So I hope you've written that down as entrepreneurs. That's number one. Number two, underneath that, and this is for you. This is something I wish I had heard originally when I was starting my business. If somebody had told me this, it would have changed everything on my way, and it has changed my thinking around business since I learned it. Write this down. Profit is not your money. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get these two principles, you're going to be lost. And I used to wonder, I'm telling you, when I joined Centonomy, let me tell you, one of the hidden reasons why I joined this company was to learn how does a company actually work properly. Because I tried mine, I was able to generate money. Yes, Paris, ouch. Thank you for writing that in the chat box. Yes. I was there thinking, somebody had wrote it very early in the session. Let me just get to it very quickly. Joseph Ndolo had written in the chat box here to make money. Let me tell you, my business was making money. In fact, by the time it was coming toward the end of when it was working properly, I was not only making money in Kenya shillings. Now I had graduated to making money in US dollars. I was offering services and products that were being sold now, and I was able to sell them in USD. And this was so money was coming in. But I did not understand a central principle, as I talked about, which was profit is not my money. It's not mine as the entrepreneur. And if I don't have that clear in my mind, even as I'm setting up the business that I'm going for, then it becomes very difficult. So I'm sure, Paris, as you wrote that, and you said, woi, ouch, it's not my money. So where is my money? And that's a central issue. So you can write this down. I'm going to give you the 3 ways that an entrepreneur makes money from their business. And it's vital for us, even as we prepare ourselves to listen to the first speaker of the day, and she'll be giving us her experience of running a business. So how do I make money from my business? Please understand that question. That question is very important. How do I make money from my own business? Because I know many of us get into it. That was me. Hey, see, it's making money. It's all mine. Who said? No. So how do I make money? Number one, please write this down. The aim is to pay yourself a salary or a wage. So that's one of the ways to get the money out of your business in the way that business works. Now, that's very different from a side hustle, ladies and gentlemen. In a side hustle, whatever you make over and above what you sell, that's your money, isn't it? Because you're not running a business. Can I be very clear about that? You're not running a business. If you are employed and you're just selling something on the side, anything you make over and above is yours, that's called a side hustle. That's not a business. In a business, the margins that you make over and above are not your money. So the first place is to pay yourself a salary or wage for the work that you do. So that's one of the ways. Number two, write this down. There is a term, write it down and it's dividends. Okay. So dividends, write this down. These are a portion of the net profit at the end of a financial year. I'm sure you see many companies that are listed on the stock exchange and other places. You hear they have come to the end of the financial year. They say they have made this number of profits, and then they declare a dividend. So at the end of a financial year, a portion, not all of it. Come on, when you see listed companies writing down and giving out a dividend, do they pay out all the profit? No. So you hear, like, if you hear the big companies, the Safaricoms, the KCBs, you hear 17 billion in net profit, okay? But when they come to the dividend, maybe it'll be probably around 4 or 5 billion, okay? So a portion of the net profit at the end of the year. It's one other way. Now, here's the one for you that you need to listen to. And if you listened to the examples of the entrepreneurs that were speaking beforehand in the sessions earlier on, you would have heard them talking about bringing on board investors. Now, this is where you usually see entrepreneurs have a multiplied effect on their personal life. When entrepreneurs build a business to a point in which investors want to put money into their business, that usually is where you see an explosion as far as the entrepreneur's personal cash wealth. Because somebody's buying a portion of your business. So for number 3, it's sale of shares in your business. That's where you see a quick leap in cash to the entrepreneur. The example that I know we use all the time here is example of Nairobi Java House. Now it's called Java House, isn't it? Java House, for those who are not familiar with it, here in East Africa, it's like Starbucks. And it was owned by a couple of Kenyans. It was sold to the first group of investors. We didn't have the history. We don't know, because it was a private sale. We don't have the history of what it sold for the first time. Okay. So after they sold shares the first time round, one of the founders, a gentleman called Kevin Ashley, was left as a shareholder, but also managing the company. And he owned 10% of that business, 10%. Now, when they sold it a second time, now there was I think it's called the Abraj Group that came and bought into the Nairobi Java House at that time. They paid 13 billion for the entire company, 13 billion shillings for the entire company. Now, listen to me. Kevin Ashley owned how much? 10% of that business. So 10% of 13 billion in the chat box is how much? I just want to make sure people are still awake and ready to hear. Sarah, I'll be coming to you in just 1 minute. So he went home with how much in that one sale? 1.3. Thank you, Kuria. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ruth. 1.3 billion shillings from that sale. So those are the 3 main ways that you're going to make money from your business. Now, there are other things you can talk about, like bonuses and extra, but that still falls within the, like for instance, that salary makeup that you're going to go through. So if we don't understand this, then it becomes problematic. So if we are talking about, is funding really the problem in your business, then we have to be able to understand what difference does funding make as far as your business flow is concerned. And we're going to discuss that throughout this session. Are we together? So if you are ready, I'm going to ask my dear friend, Sarah Migwi, if you can kindly switch on your mic and your camera. You're coming up next. This is going to be a really good discussion. So have your your notebook and pen next to you. I always do. I'm ready to take notes. I learn in every one of these sessions. It's usually amazing that we can have that even as we go forward. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Where are you at in the world?
I'm actually in Addis. I'm in Addis Ababa here for a conference.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience here.
What's the weather like there in Addis Ababa?
It's actually quite warm, but as usual, the occasional surprise rain that just shows up.
Thank God for the rain. Isn't it a good thing?
Yes,
Isn't it that we're
we
able to
can't
see
complain
as
about the rain. Yeah, we can't complain about the rain. Yeah.
So
my
Sarah Migwi
apologies.
is
I really hope my internet holds. So you forgive me and you let me know if I drop off at any one time.
No. We're hearing you loud and clear and we're ready to hear. So Sarah Migwi is the founder and managing director of Protel Studios here. They've done multiple productions. This is a company that I looked up to when I was in the production world as well. Sarah, I've been looking up to you for a very long time. We go way back with Sarah. We were in school together, and then she went into similar business as I did. And so I used to follow you very, very closely. Sarah, tell us a little bit about Protel Studios. How did you get involved in there? And what's the journey from beginning to now? What's that been like for the last couple of years?
Thank you so much, Waithaka, and good morning to everybody. And for those who are, there's some guys in the US, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. And thank you so much, Waithaka, for this opportunity to just join in, just have a conversation around entrepreneurship, around business. So my name is Sarah Migwi, like you had. I'm the founder and CEO of Protel Studios Limited. Protel Studios Limited is a 360 communications company that has been tailor-making quality, effective, as well as unique solution for the past 14 years now. Yeah, so we've been in business for 14 years now. And we offer our services for diverse clientele across East Africa. And we have some clients across the continent. And we pride ourselves for being a one-stop shop. That's a model that we do have in terms of our communication solutions, and we work, in various audiovisual sectors. That's across television, radio, digital, as well as mobile. As you know, media platforms are all becoming one within a very short period of time. Before we were talking about traditional media, which was the big one, but now you've got digital and all these emerging technologies that are really disrupting our market currently. So that's Protel Studios. We've been in business for 14 years. Started small. I've been in the industry for 23 years. That's right, 23 years. So I started off way at the bottom at Nation Television, where I'd gone in for work experience before they agreed to give me some internship. And I started working then when I was still in university trying to complete my degree. So I started right from the bottom in a position called, work experience, and then I managed to get a contract as a production assistant. And production assistant is basically a glorified, it's a nice term for a KYM, the person who does everything and anything. If you're on a TV set, you can be asked to get coffee, you can be asked to take notes, you can be asked to carry a cable, you can be asked to powder someone's nose. So it started from that point onwards, and then eventually grew into being a producer. It's been an amazing experience. And so I was in the business the industry for about 10 years before now I decided it's about time that I started my own outfit, because I had run two other companies for two other organizations. And I asked myself, why am I taking time building someone else's business? Why can't I concentrate that effort in terms of building my own? And that is actually how Protel Studios came about.
So how did you do that? Now, we're talking about funding as an issue, and I know that Protel is is a production company. There's a lot of overheads. And you talk about there's also a huge capital investment when it comes to your equipment and things like that. So how do you make that transition?
Wow. So my getting into entrepreneurship was actually, I had thought about it earlier, like 2 years before I did it, and then I got, I was scared. And just one day, 2 years later, I woke up and I decided, you know what, don't do this now. I'm not going to do it. At that point, the first time I sort of started the business, I was in Tanzania. I was running East Africa TV and radio, which was the only TV and radio station that was TV and radio station that was broadcasting across East Africa. So Kenya, between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. So I was a general manager. So that was my first experience, just in terms of an integrated East Africa community. So after that, when I was then, my daughter then was very young. She didn't adjust very well to the Tanzanian weather. So I decided to come back. So that was the first point, and I decided, okay, fine, let me go back and start my own business. Then I got an offer from a South African company, and I was very quick to tell them, it's okay, I am willing to work with you, but I would like to work with you under my company, which I am setting up. And this South African company, it was Endemol. They told me we are the biggest production company in the world. We do not partner, we set up. So it's either you come work for us, or we'll find someone else to work for us. And that's how I ended up putting my plan on the side, because I was like, working for the biggest content producer in the world. I mean, that's not a bad thing before I go into my own private business. So I ended up working for Endemol. I was employed as the regional business manager, looking after the business within the East Africa region. But I told myself at the point I joined Endemol that I was only going to be with Endemol for maximum 2 years. So at the end of the 2 years, when the 2-year mark came in, I said, okay, sorry, it's time to get out and do your thing. But now they came with an offer because they were starting a project in Nigeria. And they asked me, can you go, because you're the custodian of this, to go help set up in Nigeria? So remember, I'd given myself a target of maximum 2 years. And they told me, don't worry, this will take 6 months, you come back. So I thought, okay, Nigeria, the biggest content market in Africa, that's also not bad experience. So I decided, okay, Sarah, just extend it just for 6 months. I went to Nigeria, started, worked for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, gave in my resignation. And on 4th January 2009, I opened the doors to Protel. Now, the interesting thing is, as much as I had said I'm going to start my business, I unfortunately was not very responsible, because it's not like I had saved any money for the business. I just woke up and I said, I'm opening a company. And the only savings I had was, I had said, one thing I will not lack is school fees for my daughter. So I had saved school fees for my daughter for at least 2 years, because I said I'm not disrupting her education. The rest we can work out. So it has been a very interesting journey, in the sense that we started very small. I started with one employee, and we really hustled. And then the hardest part when I started Protel was, I had done some really great projects, great productions. And I had that under my belt. But any of the clients I worked to with now my company, they would tell me, Sarah, we know you have the work you have done with when you're at Level 1 Productions, when you're at East Africa TV, when you're at Endemol, we know those projects. But this Protel that you have started, who are they, and what have they done? And please note, it's a new company, so you really don't have that wide portfolio. So at the beginning, I ended up having to do some free projects and some extremely cheap productions, just to be able to build Protel's portfolio, irrespective of what it is that I had done. And that really pained me, because of the years of experience that I had, and all the things that I had been able to achieve by then. What would happen is, any money that would make, I had to really push myself to the corner, and any money would make, I would reinvest it back into the business. Because remember, I don't really have much of a portfolio. I don't really have a good track record with my bank. So even getting any facilities or any financing from the bank was not possible. So it was, whatever money you make, put back. Whatever money you make, put back. So I had to be very responsible in that way, that it's not about making money and taking money out of the business. It was about just being comfortable, and whatever it is that you make, you put back. And believe it or not, that is actually how we have grown the company. The other unfortunate thing that we have faced over the years is the business that we have is in the creative art. A lot of financial institutions do not understand us, and they don't understand the business that we do. If I have a creative, awesome idea and I say, I want to start a reality show, I want to start a drama show, I have a script and I need financing. If you go to a bank and tell them, look, I have a script and I need financing to do this, they're not able to understand what it is or the potential or how you're going to be able to make money back. So one of the challenges that we face as an industry is getting financing from banks, because they don't understand our business, and even in terms of how they can be able to leverage from us as creatives, or even the products that we have. So starting off, it was from a very, very humble and small beginning, but grown. And one of the things that I have constantly just pushed myself is to be financially responsible, and whatever you make, put it back continuously. Just grow the business, Waithaka.
So how are you taking care of yourself as Sarah? Because all the people who are in this room, we are almost 300 of us in this session, all entrepreneurs wondering, how do I live? How do I, you said be responsible, start small. Yeah. How was Sarah taking care of herself and her family in this time?
This time, I really just had to take care of the basics and be comfortable with the basics to grow. All right. But much later, I actually had to call myself for a board meeting with self and tell Sarah that, look, Sarah, you must take care of you now. Yeah, because you've yourself for a very long time taking care of others. You're taking care of the business. Money comes, money goes. You're left in the red. You're left in a bit of a hole. Yeah. So I actually had to call myself for a board meeting and tell myself, Sarah, now it's time that you have to take care of you. Because the one thing is, if you are not okay, there is absolutely no way the business will be okay. The other thing about people are a very important element in your business. You cannot grow your business without people. All right. But people will come and go. You are going to stay in that business. So you must take care of you. Waithaka, the other thing I'd really like to mention in this session, and this is something that I have experienced in the past 3 years. So there's a financial responsibility of taking care of you, but even taking care of yourself here mentally and here in the heart. Because the one thing that we constantly forget a lot of the times as entrepreneurs is that we are human. We are no different from any other human out there. So things that affect the human out there also affect us. So if we don't take care of ourselves here in the mind, that we are okay mentally, because the things that we go through, whether it's from a tax point of view, whether it's in terms of cash flow point of view, people issues within the bank, that balance, and then combine that home front, relationship-wise, children, it becomes a lot. So you also need to be able to pull yourself out and take care of you, because I was unfortunate. I lost my dad in 2020, and I remember my dad he was a doctor, and his life and his profession was all about his patients. And the most interesting thing was just to see that at the point now when he got sick and he passed, all those patients who he was looking after, the minute he was not there, they looked for another doctor and they moved on. So it's the same thing with us as entrepreneurs. We sacrifice ourselves so much for others and leave ourselves out. And the day we are not there, I promise you, those workers, those clients will move on. Well, that's another thing. The past 3 years I have had 2 tragedies. One, I lost my dad, and last year September I lost my daughter, my firstborn daughter. And the thing that helped me through this process, because like I said, we're human, and nothing stops us from experiencing all this. But the question is, what do you have around you, or who do you have around you to hold you up? Because there's a time you will need to be held up. There's a time you will need people to take care of you. Who do you have around you to be able to do that? What do you have in place from a people point of view, from a systems point of view, that your business can be able to carry on, your people can be able to carry on? Because now at the point of, for example, now losing my daughter, I did not attend my business for 3 months. 3 months. But my people, and I'm so grateful for my staff, my team is just so amazing. They managed to just keep the business going. And the only time they'd come to me is when they need money. The only question I ask them is, have you collected? That's it. So the question is, what do you have in place around you, and who do you surround yourself with? There's a time, there's a friend of mine who was telling me in terms of the people that there's even a gentleman I listened to some time back, and I had him say, I don't remember Waithaka of Scan Group, he used to be a Scan Group. One time I listened to him speak, and he was telling group, he was addressing the team and telling people, look, me, I only hire people who are more intelligent than me. Why? I am not a finance expert. All right. So I must hire someone who's a finance expert and who is more intelligent than me to be able to look after my finance docket. Same thing with HR and all other things. And as long as you have the right expertise, the right people in your businesses handling those dockets, then your business will be able to grow. Some people, believe it or not, as entrepreneurs, we look at someone who's sharper and more intelligent sometimes as competition. But believe it or not, as long as this guy does his job and does a good job for you, business is going to be successful. Yes. Sorry, I'm a storyteller, so I tell stories.
It's okay. No, you should see the comments that are coming through here. People are just agreeing with you and understanding what you're talking about. You see, that's what this chats is about, is to have real conversations about entrepreneurship. And you see, it's not, when we phrase the question, is funding the problem? Funding is not the issue if you didn't have the structures at that point. It was not the problem. If you had the structure that allowed you to be able to do what we're discussing here. So I want to ask can I ask you a very specific question? Because you started saying, taking care of myself, we inferred, we read into that, there's a money concern there. So how did you start taking care of yourself financially from your business at that point?
At that point, I looked at what my needs are, and my needs are just making sure that from a home front, everything is fine. And also for me, in terms of, also from an entertainment point of view, by the way, you must take care of you from an entertainment point of view. So there is a basics that you meet from a home front, but also personally. I also now ended up looking for ways of just getting out from the hustle and all the stress from the office, from work point of view, from a home point of view. And I started taking up activities. Like, for example, I started hiking. So I go hiking, and there's one of the reasons I go hiking is you're out there, no network, so no client is calling you, nobody is reaching out to you for problems, but you have a moment for you. Because at times when, as entrepreneurs, you leave the office and you go home. Home, there's also responsibilities, and that is not getting away. That is not taking time for you. You need to take time for you away from all the responsibilities that you have. But even with that, looking after self from a health point of view, in terms of what you're putting into your body, your eating, your exercise, your activities, because you have to stay healthy. But Waithaka, one of the things I do, and I have no apology for it, I enjoy my life.
Good. So we figured out, we said you started small, you used your experience from the same business, so it was something you understood, you were experienced in that same area. You started small, and what you were committed to do was to reinvest as much as you possibly can at the beginning so that you're able to grow from that perspective. So moving forward from that stage, where now I guess you got to what we call at Centonomy the success stage. Now, success does not mean global success or anything like that, but it became sustainable. Like the business now was moving on its own. What would you advise new entrepreneurs and those who have been in business for a while, from your perspective? what were some of the areas to watch out for? Because if funding was now not the problem, there were some other issues coming up, right? So what would you consider over the last couple of years were the main problems you as Sarah, the entrepreneur, were trying to solve? Maybe one or two that can help us to see from our perspective.
So one is cash flow. The cash flow problem never goes away. I remember when I started after some years in business, I used to get so frustrated because this balancing of cash in, cash out, it was very hard. So I talked to two different people, and this is another thing. I surround myself with people who, even by hanging out with them, there's a lesson I learned something from them. You surround yourself with people who will also be able to hold your hand and mentor you, and also just give you small nuggets that will help you, at your point of need. So I asked one gentleman, his name is Alex Nyaga, Parapet Limited. I asked him, Alex, this cash flow thing, how do you manage it? How do you handle it? And he told me, Sarah, cash flow is part of business. It never goes away. He told me since he had been in business, and he had been in business for more than 15 years, it was still a problem. And he told me this. He told me, Sarah, when you start, you're probably looking for 100,000. Next, you're looking for $1 million. But you will find big businesses, even the big international businesses, the difference is they're still also having cash flow problems. It's just that your cash flow issue is probably $1 million, 2, 5, 10. Them, they're dealing in billions.
Yeah,
that's the difference. So cash flow, if in your business, please note and accept that cash flow will always be a problem. I mean, I've also learned in this entrepreneurship journey, as long as I accept a problem, and I find ways of working around it, and it does not become a problem. So even when it comes up, I don't stress. I'm like, okay, all right, we need to look for what? Okay, fine. So I don't stress about it. So it's also just to be honest with self and know, this is my business. This is the environment. This is the environment I'm working with. The things that will never go away are this. Cash flow problems will never go away. People problems will never go away. The first time an employee left my business, I cried when they told me, because I was not ready for them to leave. I was not ready for that employee to leave. So I couldn't believe it that they're leaving. But over the years, it's I learned that when employees come into your business, they come into your business for a reason and a season. When the season comes to an end, they move on. I was in a business. I worked for someone at some point. When my season ended, I left. All right. So you also have to accept that when people come into your business, at some point they're going to leave. It might take a year, others a few months, others many years to come. But at some point, unless they're shareholders and they are part of your business, they are going to leave. So for me, the big two things is, yes, cash flow. Financing is always a constant problem, because Waithaka, you said at the beginning, our business is very capital intensive, and our technology is changing also often. So you're constantly having to invest in equipment and all. So that financing for us is a problem. But I've also accepted what I can be able to take at some point. And I have learned, another big one that I have learned is to say no. You don't always have to accept all the business, because yes, you have to make money, but you also need to decide who you are and what it is that you're doing and what is your key business. If something is out of your plan, don't be quick to jump into it because it's bringing in money. Because the fact that you're concentrating on that is taking you away from concentrating on what is your core for your business.
That's right. So give me 2 points in as short as possible that help you manage your cash flow from your perspective. I'll talk about it a little bit from a more practical sense, looking at actual spreadsheets in a couple of minutes. But what has helped Sarah manage cash flows at Protel Studios? 2 quick pointers on that.
Planning. planning, basics, planning.
Yep.
Yeah. Because if you don't plan, then even this cash flow problem becomes a bigger mountain. But more so the financial prudence. financial prudence. At times you'll find in your business, you're spending on things that you don't necessarily always. So COVID taught me in regards to what you must have. There's those that are good to have, but must have is what I really do pay attention to. So cash flow is planning the best that you can, and then of course financial prudence.
That's right. And on the people side, 2 quick solutions as far as the people, because you mentioned people are a bit of a problem sometimes. 2 quick solutions.
People. I don't know. I don't have the solution. I'm still looking for the solution. But the one thing I must say is, even with the challenges with people coming, people disappointing you, letting you down, it does not stop me from looking for great talent. And I have a thing within our business that when someone joins Protel, join the Protel family. All right. So it has not stopped me from, it doesn't make me treat people any different because people will leave or people will disappoint. I still treat them well, look after them, they become part of my family. And if they decide they live in the family, I can't stop them. I accept. So, but it's, I don't know, people. Yeah. But
I think I remember from the discussion we had, Sarah, when we met before this, you mentioned that you became a lot tougher over time yourself, not as in like you protected yourself knowing that they're in your family, yes, for a season. And I think that was the difference. I took that away. So you accept them in your family for a season, and you know that season may end at any point, right? Yeah,
it's like it's a very bad way of looking at it, but it's the only way to survive as an entrepreneur, because like I said, they will come into your business for a season and a reason, because you yourself, you were part of someone else's business for a season and a reason until now you moved out and started your own business. But the other thing that I try to do is I always encourage people when they're leaving to leave well, because there are people who still come back for even support. I have people who have gotten into our industry and I support in one way or another, because at the end of the day, they are a product of Protel, and their success is my success because they have grown within the business and have let them out within the industry. One of the pillars for Protel is we're very big on identifying talent, building on that talent. All right, even when you're looking at the actors and the talent that we use in our content, we identify talent, we help build that talent, but at the same time release that talent to the industry with the hope that this talent now will be able to grow. So when I see that, I am happy. I'm like, look, this person passed through my hands, and look at the amazing and great stuff that they're doing.
But Sarah, aren't you afraid they're going to steal all your ideas? And if you're training them and you're building them, they'll go and start Protel too. Why are you afraid of that?
This industry is big. This industry is big. The cake is very big, and it's enough for all of us. And remember, our industry is changing, and you cannot run a business scared of someone else starting. That employee will start that business. That ex-employee will start that business, but someone else out there will start that business. But the question is, what differentiates you from everybody else in the market? Because you're not in business because of those people. You're in business because you have an idea, a concept, and a company that is offering a service. And you're offering that service so well that nobody else out there can be able to do it. Even if someone starts a Protel too, they will never be able to reach what my Protel does. Yeah, they'll not be able to do it as the original Protel. Yeah, and you have to believe in that. You have to believe in what it is that you do, what you've built, such that even if someone else comes and does it, they will never get to the point of how well you do, because it will just be a copy as well. Yeah.
Listen, guys, this is awesome. Sarah, imagine that was the time. You were so worried you didn't have enough to say over this period of time, but you should see how many questions are coming through and are bringing it about. Just to quickly, guys, if we can, in the chat box, give Sarah a hand, give her a thumbs up if you can for the amazing work that she's done. Sarah, you're in the middle of a conference and you've given us your time. I really appreciate that. And guys, go check out Protel Studios online as well. and you'll be able to see some of the amazing stuff that they've done. Sarah, Migwi, thank you so much. All the best. Travel safe.
Thank you, Waithaka. And I'm so amazed at the work that you're doing at Centonomy. Thank you so much for the support you continue to give entrepreneurs, and to all the entrepreneurs out there, even as you're doing business. See what you're doing for the community. What are you giving back? How many people's hands are you holding and also bringing up? How many people are you mentoring? Because holding all that knowledge and experience within yourself, you're not helping anyone else out there. You are blessed. Yeah, yes, to build a business, to be able to support your family, grow your family, but you're also blessed to be able to bless other people out there. So thank you so much, Waithaka.
Thank you. Do hang out. There's some questions in the chat box. Maybe you can be able to respond to as long as you can. When you need to leave, we understand. Seeing as I know you stepped out of a meeting to go into another one, even as we go. God bless, Sarah. Take care.
Thank you so much. And God bless all of you.
So guys, I hope you are taking notes like me. So first of all, and this is something that we've seen overall here at Centonomy in our research over time, as we're looking at businesses that have succeeded, there was a sense in which many of them had managerial experience beforehand. So businesses, especially started by entrepreneurs who never did, like, for instance, any kind of business training specifically as an entrepreneur, what was helpful was being in a C-suite level or in a managerial role that had an overlooking. So if you saw what Sarah was saying, she was running a business for someone else in a different space, and it allowed her to see this is how business works. And so one of the benefits of being in the Centonomy Entrepreneur program is that rather than having to have gone through the C-suite level that we're talking about here, you get an overview of how a business works directly within the session. So we draw from experience from other entrepreneurs like Sarah and many others who've gone before, and say, what is it that they know, that they knew going into that business that you should know as well? So when we developed the modules, as you can see here, this is giving you a C-suite. Hey, that one refused for a moment. A C-suite level of looking at your business. Because if you are like me, Waithaka, I was very much a manager of projects. So I was able to produce good results in project form. But a project is not the same as running a business, because a business, you have multiple factors that you're dealing with. What Sarah was talking about is, in a business, it's like you're a DJ and you have all these knobs that you're working on to produce the sound that you're looking for. You have a financing knob, you have an HR or human resource knob, you have a supplier's knob, you have a customer's knob, you have a marketing knob, and as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to have your fingers on all of them. Have you ever seen a DJ trying to play one of those things? And so what the Centonomy Entrepreneur program gives you is DJ training for entrepreneurs, so that you're able to, rather than having to work forever until you get to a C-suite level or managerial level in another business, within the 14 weeks, we give you that view of your business so that you can make those choices. That was the first thing I noted. Number two, Sarah was talking about starting small and using the cash that is being generated to reinvest. I want to show you that on an Excel sheet, what we're talking about there shortly, so that you begin to understand what reinvesting, because I hear people saying, but if I reinvest, where is my money? And that's a very important question. We're going to come to it. So that idea of financial prudence early on and ensuring that you're putting money back into the business to allow for the growth that was happening. She also mentioned the two things to watch out for: cash flow. And with cash flow, I'll show you a specific example. But when she said planning, what planning is saying, what? You have a target, you aim for it. When you receive the cash flow, you're able to say, how long will this take us for? What else do we need to fill? So that you're constantly ahead of it. So planning is a key part of it as a solution. And with people, she said, build the talent and be willing to release. Because if you try and hold on and you might be finding yourself in a difficult place, but build the talent so that you're able to keep them on board. Wow, 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 wow. Sarah, thank you so much. And I can see she's answering as many questions as possible there on the chat. If you can as well, that would be great. Even as we move forward, I told you this is a proper global experience that we are having here. I'm so happy to be inviting the founder of Centonomy. She's an author, she's a coach, she's a mentor. She's helped thousands of people in their financial journey. She's doing it on a global stage right now in Paris. I don't know if, Waithaka, I saw you were in Paris, then you're in Brussels, then I don't even know where you are in the world. Where are you right now, Waithaka?
Okay, I'm back in Paris.
How are you?
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
We can hear you loud and clear as well.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I know I was a very last minute entrant into this entrepreneur chat because I just did not know which train I'd be catching, where I'll be catching it from. But I'm grateful that I was able to get back in time because I fly out. I'm now preparing to come back home. But yeah, yes, global stage, global, like Sarah. I'm so grateful, Sarah, you made the time as well. Yes, I came to attend a conference in Paris and participate in discussions around financial literacy in the digital space. And I think being in that conference and being here, and then subsequently there was another opportunity to go to Brussels and see what other people are doing there, has been an eye-opener. And I guess to everyone who's starting a business, when I started and I was teaching one person at a time how to run their businesses or how to plan their finances, I did not know I would be sitting here. And I think I want to take inspiration from that. And just really encourage people that whatever you're doing is actually, and I think this is the thing with entrepreneurship, you don't know where it is going. And many times sometimes there's not a formula in front of you. And my journey a lot has been about faith. So first of all, there's faith, yeah? And faith doesn't always come packaged in a formula. So whatever you are doing, we can teach you, you can be taught a lot of things that, yeah, this is how you pay tax. That's a formula, yeah? But a lot of the things, the spirit that is going to drive you sometimes has no formula. And I think with entrepreneurship, that's why sometimes you find yourself feeling so lonely, because there's no book, there's no exact book that has been written for what you are going to go through. But I want to tell people, what if you are the book? And what you're going to go through, what you're going to learn, and there are many people who are going to help you author that book. I hope Centonomy can help you author that book. There are many people who came into my lives. I went for programs to learn about entrepreneurship, then ended up teaching in those programs, yeah? Some of them in the US, yeah? But you're here to write a story, and that story is going to have impact beyond what you can imagine. I'm here with a 14-year story, and I'm now seeing it from such a different perspective. But I know today we were talking about funding, and I'm not going to take too much time, but I think there's a lot of sometimes noise in being big. And that's why sometimes when we think about funding and money a lot, because we're so caught up in big. There's nothing wrong in being big, but being big should be a result of something. Now, when I've been here, it has been very interesting to see Paris. If someone does cheese, all they do is cheese. If someone does bread, all they do is bread. If someone makes jam, all they do is make jam. So they have a lot of small shops, but many of them. If there's a place that has encouraged an SME culture and severely protected it, it is France. If they do wine, they only do a specific type of wine. If they do butter, they do butter. If they do fruits, they do fruits. Whilst I think we Kenyans, we do butter, then we can also do cheese, then we can do what? Then it can be mixed this, etc. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes I think we really lose the essence of getting to what exactly are you good at. If I was to ask people today, what is your superpower? And it's beyond just having a product or service. Anybody can sell fruits. Anybody can have a hardware shop. Anybody can do property. But what is so unique about what you are doing, and in the search of trying to be big, are you neglecting that, which would be the diamond, which would always be what will bring even the resources and the people towards you, because people always want to be part of something that is excellent. So how about we start changing, understanding how can I be excellent first before trying to be big. Yeah. So I've gone somewhere where all they do is grapes, and it's just been interesting. All they sell is sweaters. I mean, it's just been so interesting because they don't have that scarcity. If you want trousers, please walk over to the other shop. Yeah. And the culture here, customers don't have that. But it's really, and I guess it's a bit different for us, but I think the principle is still the same. Get really, really good at what you are. What is that craft? What is your craft? Yeah, get really, really good at, because money is not going to fix a customer problem. Money is not going to fix an essential problem with your product and service. And we've seen people who have raised money. There's a lot of foreigners have come to the country and they came with big money, but they really didn't understand how to be good at what they were doing in our market. Yeah, so they've lost their money and gone. So money is not going to fix a lack of understanding about the customer. And I think it's Centonomy. That's why design thinking is so important, because it zones down what does the customer want. Then when you're really good at it, it can become like the root of a tree that they can then start having the branches. Then you can, based on that very, very strong root, yeah, you can then expand into areas that don't necessarily have to be about planting another tree. Like in Centonomy, we became very good at personal finance. Then we expanded into entrepreneurship, which is an offshoot. Then teenagers, but it was really the same tree. So you're using the same resources, the same offices, the same team. So you're not busy trying to raise money or figure out money to keep planting different trees that are stretching you beyond the capacity you actually have, or you're losing out on the essence of what you're truly, 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 truly good at. Now, many people, and you've got to think, am I an early stage business or am I a mature business? Unfortunately, many people think they're a mature business because they've been in business 5, 6, 7 years. If you are still struggling with order in your business, paying yourself in your business, you don't know how to manage teams in your business, you don't know who your customer is, it doesn't matter if you've been in business 15 years, you're an early stage business. Yeah, you may have some experience, but you and a 1, 2, 3 year business are talking the same language. So many people think I'm a mature business and they try to go out there and raise resources selling I've been in business 15 years. You know what I've learned in this conference? Nobody cares. Nobody even cares about your P&L. Nobody cares. What do they care about? First, what I've said, are you really good at what you're doing? And I'm so glad when I came here, when I spoke, and people responded to that. They were not responding to the size of my business or my P&L. They were responding to, truly, this experience has made me good at what I do. And then there's impact. Those are the two things they were responding to. And a lot of the times, even funders, that is what these days they are responding to. But beyond being good, if you don't have order in your business, whether you've been in there 20 years, you're like a 2-year-old business. It's like you're an early stage business. So you'll be calling yourself mature, but you're at an early stage business because you're still dealing with the things that are around survival. You're still dealing with, if you walk out of your business. I've been out of my business. I left when? Beginning of May? When did I leave? Waithaka, 4th May. I've been out maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, but these guys are now used to it. I'm out of the business a lot. Yeah. But that is because there's order in the business. And like Sarah was saying, I do have a strong team led by Waithaka, who's not just anybody, he's my partner. Together with Joanne, they are my co-owners in this business who are there, but it's order. And we have to let go of ourselves. We have to let go of our egos. We have to let go of thinking we can do it alone, because when you're trying to do it alone, then there's so many other opportunities that are going to come your way that you're just not going to be able to grasp. I would not have been here if for any reason I was trying to do it alone. Today I just got a Zoom link and I logged on. Had I been trying to put this event together, it would not have happened. So create order in your business, because order gives you peace of mind. It gives you, first of all, it gives you peace of mind that things will run, that you don't have to be thinking about 10,000 things at the same time. You have created the processes and you have created the structure around that business. And then lastly, I wanted to say, when you're doing that, just ask yourself, what is going to be the story around this business? So you've started a business or you're running a business. It's working, it's going. Come for the Centonomy class. We teach you to put order. We give you a sense of where it is going. But ultimately, we all have to answer this question. And I think I really want to start pushing SMEs in this direction. And you know why SMEs in particular? Because I strongly believe that this is the time SMEs are going to stop thinking about themselves as little, as small, as less than. Because what you have is the opportunity that big companies don't have. What I was telling them, being extremely good at something. I think it's very, very, very hard for big companies to achieve that. But companies that are small can start out with that and claim that space very easily. But I want to challenge everybody here. What will have happened in your community, in the world, even in your own business? It's not just a business because you decided to do this. What is going to happen to the people in the people's lives who for the season they are with you? And these are the things I'm challenging myself at this point at. And in the entrepreneurship class, we talk about something, the stages of business, which is survival, success, significance. Now I'm talking about significance. What will have happened because you existed? And it leads to very deep analysis here. First of all, you look at yourself as an individual, but you also look at what you're going through this business. Who will it have helped? Who will it have impacted? And when I say impacted, I also mean in your own lives. How will these businesses have impacted you because you chose to actually do it? So we have to start thinking, this is a journey. You're on a train and you're going to a destination. Yeah. But what is happening while you're on the train? Because you are on the train, what actually happened? And when we bring in the aspect of funding, you now have to realize, even if you're talking about funding, what are you really, really talking about funding for? Is it so that you can get really good at your craft? Maybe you don't know your craft. Is it so that you can experiment? Then be realistic about what experiment money is there. Family, fools, friends. Yeah, that is experiment money. My mom gave me my experiment money. She gave me about 500,000 shillings early in Centonomy. While Centonomy was an experiment. I didn't even know that is what I would end up doing forever. So sometimes we're trying to seek money or look at money the same way somebody who has now years of impact is trying to look at money. It's not the same way. So if you are that, or is it just going to come from your savings? Is it just going to come from you experimenting? Someone buys your product and you keep reinvesting that money in the business. So is it that? Do you want money to create order? Do you want money to now achieve the impact, have a story? Or do you want money just to make more money? And I think in Centonomy, we really differentiate, because if it's money for survival, then look towards what are the issues that are causing you not to survive. And many times it's the way you're managing your cash flows. Yeah. So we have to look at your working capital infrastructure. So your job as the people who are here, the people who decided to spend Saturday here, your job, all of you who are here, is to see all this. Yeah, because when people come to work with you, this is what they want seen. Your job is to see. You're almost standing at a crossroad where to the right is what is already happening in the business and the things that are already happening with the business. Yeah, and to keep that going and growing and learning. But to the left, and this time, this experience here in Paris and Brussels, I went to Brussels because I met in the conference people who are doing kids financial literacy. I hopped onto a train to go see what they were doing. And they showed me and exposed me. In fact, they exposed me so much. I thought, these guys have no fear about I might take what they're telling me and copy it. They simply had no fear. But it speaks to what Sarah is saying. They're not coming to Kenya. There's enough for everybody. They exposed me to such. I was like, are you sure you can tell me that? Me, I was just taking the notes. Are you sure you can send me that? They pretty much, yeah? Because to the right is a whole other world. So you as the visionary, as the founder, you stand at that crossroad, where to the left, yes, keep things going. But to the right, because this train must keep moving, The people who come to work for you will only be motivated if the train is moving. The new people you'll want to come to work for you will only be motivated if the train is moving. The funders will only be motivated if the train is moving. Your job is to go to your version of Paris, to go to your version of whatever it takes to keep exposing you to what is going on in your industry, what is in the world, because we're in a global world, whether we like it or not, to keep the train moving forward. So you cannot get stuck on the right the entire time. It is important to keep it going. But one foot must be out the door. It must be in another country. It must be talking to the customer. It must be reading a different book. It must be about having a different conversation, because it is only that keeps the train moving. So we cannot get stuck in, I am only managing survival, even though literally from time to time, that will be the reality on the ground. There were so many reasons why I could not come here, but it was extremely important that I actually come here. So in a nutshell, we have to go through a journey where there is formula, but there's also a lot of faith. There is stepping out, but there's order, because wealth, as we say in Centonomy, can never be created in disorder. That one will never happen. Resources do not follow disorder at all. And there's lastly, as I said, there's a whole rethinking about the way us SMEs run business. There's a whole rethinking about the identity. There's a whole rethinking about, if I do cheese well, there's a place on the global stage for people who are so good at their craft that they will probably attract more attention and more resources than people who have tried to do it all and are doing everything in a mediocre manner. So please, please, please go ask yourself, what can I be? This is the only question. What can I be? What am I excellent at? And I'm possibly ignoring. I think in Centonomy, we are good at content creation. We are good at communication. We're good at going beneath the surface to uncover what is going on, even in emotions that are disrupting your money and your business. There are many people teaching financial literacy and many people teaching entrepreneurship, but they're not doing it like us. I want you to be able to say the same thing. There are many people selling bananas, but they're not doing it like me. There are many people doing property, but they're not doing like me. There are many people doing interior designing, but there's something that they are not doing like me. Like me. What is that? In the Abundant Entrepreneur, I think we actually cover this, and even we deal with fear just to unblock what is that. Because once you have that secret identity, secret formula, the world literally is your stage. And I just hope me being here, you knowing the story of Centonomy, started with one person. I didn't know whether the fuel in my car will reach. One thing, one stage at a time. I've gone through all business cycles and all economic cycles that have to be offered in Kenya. I've gone through all of them. But I'm still here and I'm still seeing so much. There's so much opportunity to learn. So become a student of life, become a student of your business. And I hope you will take this entrepreneurship journey seriously. And I hope you will allow us to help you author your book. Thank you so much. I have to leave. This is borrowed space.
No, I can't let you go. I have one question.
I know. Yeah.
Before you go, one question. This is Esther Minor. She wrote in the chat here, and she said, "How can I be excellent?" Because I think there's a sense in which people may not know what that process was like for you. How did you become excellent at your craft of sharing about personal finance?
Esther, there's no getting around. Time has a role to play here, because you don't know you're excellent. You start with what you think you can, you do it. And I think, first of all, excellence is not, it doesn't mean when I say I am excellent, first, let me clarify something. Am I saying I am the best ever made? No. Am I saying I have nothing to learn? No. Am I saying I don't make mistakes? No. So I think let's not confuse excellence with perfection. Maybe I'll be perfect in heaven, but until I die, I am still going to be improving. I'm sure even the day before I die, someone will have reached out and said, Washeke, I didn't like this in your class yesterday. And it will be something I can change. So excellence is not perfection. Excellent is where I am with what I know, One, am I doing it to the best of my ability? A lot of the times people know if I had just given it a bit more time, if I had just given it a bit more concentration, I could have done better. I would be able to design these clothes a little bit better if I just carved off Mondays and made that my time to do clothes only. If I gave myself space and time. So with what you have and what you know today, are you doing it to the best of your ability? That's number one. So for me, it's time, and that's doing it over again, doing it over again, do it over again. And that is why for a business, the customer is so important. Asking the customer, what did you think? Where could I be better? What did you like? etc. So excellence is a journey, not a destination. It's saying, if I'm doing this, I am going to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm going to expose myself. People do not like asking the customers, what did I do right or wrong? Because it exposes them to receiving feedback. And you know what? We always want to be told how good we are because we want to sit in a comfort bubble. Yeah. So excellence is a journey where I am just going to be one of those businesses that's going to put myself out there and let me learn along the way. So talking to the customer, trying, experimenting. But second, also exposing myself to questioning, what do I need to learn? What truly, and that's why we are here, because nobody was taught how to run a business. Yeah. What do I need to learn? You mean there's a different way of marketing? You mean I need to I can't be making the best product, but I don't actually understand how my business makes money. So I can't sit here and say I have the best product, I'm excellent, but I know the financial affairs. Remember, I said this does not happen in this order. The financial affairs around that product are in disarray. So I'm like, okay, to the best of my ability, I now know there's a Centonomy in existence. So let me go and learn about this. So it is a journey. And then saying, okay, how do I step out of my comfort zone? So Esther, I hope I've answered you. It's not about perfection. Even me today, this talk was not perfect. Yeah. There's nothing that we're doing this perfect. We are always learning, but saying, I am going to be, what has helped me is just to understand I am a student of life. Every day I learn. Even when I came here, I came with a learner's attitude. Yeah. How did I know I was good? I saw how people were responding to what I was saying. I saw how people were responding to what I have done. But once again, over time. Yeah, that time can be 3 years, it can be 5 years, it can be 7 years. What do I wish I had understood? That how I became good a long while ago. And I say that not from a pride perspective. It is because as people in business, especially small business, we struggle with value. I think Waithaka will talk about that, where we become good, but we don't yet know that's time to tell the customer we are raising the price because of how good we are. And being good is not that you're being proud about yourself. You're just saying, this service I'm providing, this product that I'm providing, probably together with an infrastructure, probably together the team of people, is good enough to dictate a certain value. But do not run a business if you think you're just doing it average or mediocre. If there's something better you could be doing in that business, do it. If you're doing it to the best today, you are excellent.
Waithaka, as always, such a pleasure. Travel safe. Thank you for giving us your time. Somebody here in the Q&A, this is Priscilla Pete, was saying excellence is a moving bar. It keeps changing every mark you achieve. And that's the thing. It drives you forward. What's the next thing? Thank you so much, guys. Let's give Waithaka a hand.
And if I could just say one thing, become excellent. Focus on excellence more than focusing on big. I think big can be a result of being excellent. So you may become big, go around the world but let it be a result of being excellent. And for some people, excellence may be achieved by just having their one shop or their one thing or their 5 employees, and that is their version of excellence. So our version of excellence and a successful company, in Centonomy Entrepreneur, we say we want you to build a great business. Our definition does not all have to be the same thing. So find your definition.
Thank you so
guys.
much.
I have to leave my borrowed space. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
You can answer a couple of questions in the Q&A. That would be great, but I understand if you have to move. Guys, let's give Sheke a hand as she
Thank
leaves.
you, guys. Thank you.
As
See you
always.
soon in Nairobi. Bye.
Just a recap quickly of what she said, the 3 areas that we need to learn about and the 3 areas we need to focus on. Have faith, and every entrepreneur has to have faith. Even if you are saying this product is so excellent, you have to have faith that customers are going to buy it. You have to have faith that you're going to be able to build and grow. That's important. Excellence. This is your superpower. That's what sets you apart. And then have order, because there's no success without order. And one of the strengths of the entrepreneur program is exactly that sense of order that you're going to be able to have. So as I said, we're giving you that overview of what it looks like in a business to be able to say, what's that initial stage? How do I engage my customers when we talk about design thinking? How do I deal with fear and vision? How do I make money from my business? My favorite class, because it helps us to see the process that we go through. How do we structure our businesses and strategy? Now we're talking about the technical side, and then we get into the proper nitty-gritty of it. Marketing, digital sales, accounting. These are all skill sets. This is what I want you to understand. What Washeke was trying to share there was, you as an entrepreneur have a duality. One side of you needs to be technical. You need to understand how a business works. And if you don't fully understand how a business works, you need to partner with somebody who does. That's one of the powerful things. And even in that partnership, don't be lazy and say, let them just handle that. But you need to have a good overview of it. And then you also have to have the other side, which is the grit, the faith that Washeke was talking about, that pushes you beyond. And you heard that from Sarah as well, that Sarah said it's stepping out in faith, that this thing is going to work. And that's what the entrepreneur program will help you with. So I need you to understand that it is starting on the 7th of June. It's a program that you come for 14 weeks, those 14 modules that we talked about, which are dealing with your mindset, but also giving you the technical skills to handle it. Starts on the 7th. We run it twice a week. The same class, listen carefully, the same class runs twice a week. Why? For flexibility and to ensure you don't miss out. So we run the class on a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. East African time. That's 6 to 9 p.m. East African time. And the same class happens again on Saturday, 9 to 12 p.m. So that if for some reason you're in Paris or you're in Addis Ababa and you can't get into the class for whatever reason it is, you have an opportunity to come for either one. Maybe you know you have a wedding coming up on Saturday, come in on the Wednesday class. Maybe Wednesday you have a business meeting at the same time or a personal meeting at the same time, you come in for the Saturday class. This is for your flexibility, and they're also all run via Zoom in a similar experience that we have here. Although right now we're using the webinar format, so you don't have as much freedom. In the class format, we have our cameras on, so you get to interact with other entrepreneurs, and we talk with one another. So I know today using the webinar format because we're streaming other things at the same time, having that same interaction. But I want you to understand, the same way I'm having a talk with Sarah and with Washeke and with Job who's coming up, and also with Samuel who will be speaking shortly, that same interaction happens in the class now between you and other entrepreneurs, and we have group activities as well. I want to encourage you at this point to take advantage of the registration discount. We always do a registration discount during our sessions because you've given us your time today. We always do so. Instead of having to register at 2,000 shillings, you can do it at 1,000 shillings. That's $10. Essentially, instead of $20, $10 US. Make that registration today, and then the rest of the fees can be paid in installments as we go forward. All right. So it's 1,000 shillings. And then the rest of the fees of 60,000, you pay it in installments, tuition fees every month, because cash flows. Isn't that what Sarah was talking about? Your business needs to manage cash flows. So you don't want to remove a huge chunk at once. Doing it slowly by slowly over time is going to be helpful for your business. So the installment plan is there, 21,000, 21,000, 18,000 monthly installments to make it easier for you to manage cash flows within your business. This is vital for you. We've got the founder of Home 254, one of the biggest clothing brands that we have here in Kenya, and he's coming up to speak in a couple of minutes and share his insights. So don't go away. I want you to make that commitment now and actually register for the class. Once you register for the class, we will send you all the information that you need in order to get you ready and orientate you for the session that we're going to go through. That's actually coming up in a couple of minutes. So I want you to take a quick screenshot or take your pen that you had to write down the details of what you're going to do. So that if you're in Kenya, you can use the M-Pesa pay bill 986850. And then in the account, write your first name and the letters ENT at the end. And the amount is 1,000 bob. If you're outside of Kenya, the bank details are there on the screen. Just take them down real quick, or you can take a screenshot real quick. This material will be available on our YouTube channel as well and our Facebook. In case you miss it out, don't worry, I'll come back to this shortly. And if you have any question or you just want to clarify something, please reach out to the number on the screen there, and the wonderful Ruby Njonjo, who's the head of our entrepreneurship program here at Centonomy. She will guide you on getting into the class. It is a life-transforming class for you and for your business. The things that you've heard Sarah and Washeke talking about are the things that we cover in the program. And just to let you know that each one of these modules are taught by entrepreneurs. So this is not an academic program. I want this to be clear to you. We want it to be practical. So when you leave the design thinking class, you go and design think for your business. When you leave the fear and vision class, you go and write a vision. When you leave how I make money from my business, you come back with projections from your own business as well. This is how focused and serious we are in the session. When you talk about marketing, you put together a marketing strategy. Accounting, you look at your numbers, not other numbers. We look at yours as well as we go through. That's how practical we want it to be. So take advantage of the opportunity to register today, even as you get prepared to be in the class in starting on the 7th of June. Take advantage because the registration is for today, 1,000 bob. 1,000 shillings off, $10 is no small amount of money. So you want to take advantage of that. I want to show you real quick what we mean by the practical side of it. I saw someone in the question asking, so what's the difference between a side hustle? In a side hustle, you don't fully account for every cost in your business. Let me explain what I mean. This is a simple example that hopefully will help you to understand this. We use this in the class, and then from this simple example, we're able to elaborate and grow further than this. So if I'm a baker and I create a cake, I go to the market, I figure it out, I can sell that cake for 1,000 shillings. Hey, imagine you can buy a cake for how much you're getting off in the class today. Registration off your registration fee. It's 1,000 bob. If I sell one cake at 1,000 bob, I don't make 1,000 shillings. That's called revenue, cash coming in. That's the total amount coming in. That's not the full picture of the business. You see, we have to take the business a bit further than that. You see, the ingredients of that cake cost me something. The ingredients and maybe even the packaging material of that cake cost me something. It cost me 500 shillings. So I went and bought flour, eggs, yeast, whatever goes, flavoring, all the stuff that goes into a cake, and it cost me 500. I then came and sold it in the market for 1,000. So if I sold it for 1,000 shillings, but it cost me 500, these are direct costs, or the cost of the goods, and we describe that in the class as well. How much did I make in the chat box? Real quick, I want to see if people are alert and awake. If I sold it at that level, how much did I make? Quick, guys. 500. Great. Winfred and everybody else who's writing the 500. What is that 500 called? What is it called? Because understanding terminology matters in what we're discussing here. What is that called? Winfred, and this is what I said, and Doris, the same thing. And I knew I still have a couple of people who are saying that. We called it profit. It is not profit, ladies and gentlemen. We call it in business, and you're going to see there, gross profit or gross margin. Why is that important? Because if you're going to understand the costings within your business, you have to understand that it did not cost you 500 to create that cake. That's the key. What did it actually cost you to make that cake? You didn't make that cake in the air, so it cost you for the space. Even if you're working from home, your home is not free. So there was a cost for the space in which you did the work. There was some utility cost. There was some transport cost. There was some marketing costs. in getting that. Hey, transport, did the cake materials find their way to your house and find their way to the, it doesn't happen magically. It happens within an environment, in a business environment, okay? Marketing costs, even if it's just 1,000 bob for a poster that you did, or you did a post on social media, there's some cost around it. And here's the key part that we always forget, and this is what I want you to understand. You did work. You came up with the recipe, you came up with the work, you came up with the cake, you produced the cake, you baked it, you packaged it, you sold it. There was work that went into selling that cake. And so we measure that work by calling it a salary. Somebody who's able to do that work within a month, how much would that be? So put down a cost for that. So it means that in this business, there were all these other costs, right? And the total other costs are 50,000, okay? So if I sold one cake for 1,000, it cost me direct cost, the cost of ingredients and packaging, 500. I made a gross margin of 500. Then if I only sold one cake in a month, one cake, okay? If I only sold one cake, I didn't make 500. The business lost 49,500 shillings. Ha! It lost. Can you see there's a loss? Because the money that came into the business, 500. The money that went out, 50,000. So you made a loss of 49,500. So somebody was asking the difference between a side hustle and a real business. In a side hustle, you have a salary from from your work that you're doing somewhere else. So that salary takes care of all these other costs here. In a side hustle. In a business, you must account for them. And so when you see this live, as you're seeing here in the screen, as we get ready to listen to another amazing entrepreneur, Job, I hope you're ready as we come along, as we hear the story of Home 254. Now you're able to say, okay, if I sell one cake, this is not a business. If I sell 50 cakes, I'm still making a loss here. I hope you can see that. I sell 50 cake, I made the revenue, cash coming into the business was 50,000, but it cost 25,000 just for the materials. So I've made a gross margin of 25,000, but my other costs are still 50,000. So I still made a loss of 25,000. So here's a key part that we discuss in the business, and then say it's 100 cakes. Let's say we do at 100 cakes. Watch this. This is now a vital point for every business. This point at which the revenue coming in is 100,000. The direct cost 50,000. The other cost 50,000. At this point, the business has made no money, no profit, but praise the Lord, it has also made no loss. What is this point called in the chat box so that other entrepreneurs can hear what we're talking about here? Wilfred Ojuang, the fastest. Wilfrida, sorry. Ojuang, the fastest. This is called the break-even point. And if you have never calculated the break-even point for your business, this is one of the core areas that we're going to discuss. Why? Because if we're going to look for funding for your business, you have to learn that within your business, it will take time for you to get to the break-even point. So how much funding do you need to sustain your business until it gets to this point and beyond? Because I want to check, listen, we're in class, guys. We're in class here. So I want to see if you are paying attention. What did we say is the aim of every business at the beginning of this session? What's the aim of every business? Come on, guys, as quickly as possible. What's the aim of every business? So at this point in which the business has made no loss, no profit, is this the aim? No. Now, watch this, because we've been able to create this, you're able to set targets for your business. So my question to you, you are now the entrepreneur. Look at James's business that is here. What targets would you give James for his business? Come on in the chat box. Let's see if people are awake. What targets would you give James? So he doesn't become comfortable. James can come at the end of the month and say, look, we sold 100 cakes and we made 100,000 in revenue. Is that a good thing? No, because the business made what? No money. So if you have been wondering, there's money coming to my business every month, every week, but I never see it. I don't know where it goes. This is your problem. because you don't have clarity on profitability of your business. If you don't have clarity on your profit, look what has happened, guys. When you see a simple example like this, suddenly it forced you to set targets for your business. If you don't have targets, it means you don't have a break-even point, which means you don't know how to finance the business. There's no funding that comes in. And doesn't matter how much we talk about faith, we talk about your impact in the world, your business will not work. And so we spend time understanding ourselves as individuals, but we have to have the skill set of how your business makes the difference between a hobby of baking cakes and a business of making cakes and a side hustle of making cakes. That's where the difference is. And this is even more meaningful for you who are in the services business, because in the services business, value becomes even more, because in services, you're not selling a product which you're selling time. So how do you value yourself in time-wise? That's what we talk about in the program. If you have that skill set, plus your passion, plus the faith, plus the funding that we're talking about, then we're getting ready to succeed. So guys, this is real stuff. I want you to take some time right now. Make this a priority for yourself. Register today so that we begin this discussion on the 7th of June. Because otherwise you'll be in business like me for years. Money is coming in. I told you we're making money in thousands of dollars. And we were thinking, now money is here, we can do, but because I didn't understand revenue, gross margin, I didn't understand profitability or break-even point, my projects were working, but the business was failing. Are you in that scenario? Please register now, and we see you in class. Next up is my boy. I'm telling you, to be able to say that JB is a alumni of the Centonomy, one of the Centonomy programs, is something that just warms my heart. This young man has taken a brand that nobody knew about to one that is globally accepted. He has international sales that are coming through. JB, if you can switch on your mic and your camera so we can get started even as we go, this is going to be great. JB is I should call him by his formal name, Job Brian Jura. He is the founder and CEO of JBeeBura Designz and also Home 254 Apparel. You guys have seen, man, I have to go get my bag, JB. As you're introducing everyone, I have to show you that I'm one of your customers, even as we go through. Guys, can we put our hands together for JB as he comes to tell us? JB, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Home 254, what that's been like as I go get my evidence that I'm your customer.
Oh, wow. So, am I live?
Yes, you are, sir.
Oh, so my name is Job Brian Jura, founder and CEO of Home 254. Yes, that's me, former engineering student, but now I'm into this creative space. What else am I supposed to say? Yeah, the number one, let me not say number one, maybe we are the top fashion brand in Kenya right now, 100% made in Kenyan brand. We're trying to, I was an alumni in Centonomy Campus Edition, which was, I think I did in 2011. Yeah, which was a big part of my journey to where I am right now. And in every level that you're going as Home 254, we keep on learning new stuff, but we started with the basics. So yeah, here I am and I'm ready to go. We're still waiting for Waithaka to show us like he has proof of like he's our client. Because if you're doing this, you have to support each other's businesses. Yeah, I know maybe people are wondering how I came into this fashion and creative industry from engineering. Yeah, I did my engineering. I graduated in 2016. Yeah, I used to love engineering, but I loved fashion more. So I decided to take this path from my fourth year in campus. Home 254 started in 2015. while I was still in campus. And I remember during that time is when I used to fail so much because I was trying to juggle up between campus. I was trying to juggle up between doing business and doing engineering class. You know, engineering is not easy. So trying to balance them out, one had to fail. So there's a point in my time in school, I used to get supplementaries because I was trying to hustle and to build this business. I remember when I first got my supplementary, I was a 4th year, which got my dad really, really pissed off. I remember my dad said there was that I'm trying to make you an engineer and you want to sell clothes. Are you out of your mind? Yeah, you know when your parent does not support you at that point, you tend to try to think twice, because that time it was really nice. I remember when I was in 1st year, it was really nice telling people that I'm taking engineering, just for people to kind of respect you and see that you're doing one of those difficult courses. But with time, you come and find out that it's not your passion. You're just doing it because your parents told you to do it, and that was me. But when I got to 4th year, my 5th year, I started feeling like this is not my thing. And I love my country and I love fashion. So the reason why M24 came to existence is I wanted to find a fashionable way to showcase that we love this country, that I love this country. I never used to, and I still don't like seeing people making clothes using the flag. I usually feel like that's disrespecting the flag. Like you get someone making a shirt out of the Kenyan flag or a dress. In case anyone has here, no bad blood, but I usually feel like that's disrespecting the flag. So I was trying to find a fashionable way of bringing fashion and patriotism together, to bring something that is not all over your face that you are patriotic, but shows that you love the country. Yeah, I think that's the short story about how I started this Home 254.
Bro, I can see your bag in the back there. This was one of my best. Yeah, yours is the red one, mine's the black one. This is one of my best gifts ever. My wife bought this for me. Thank you, sweetheart, for getting that for me. I use it every day. This is what I go to the office with for all my gigs, everything that I do. It follows me around because I love it. And I think it's really something for a young man like yourself to be doing what you're doing here. Bro, how did you fund the starting of this business? How did you fund it, man?
Oh, now this is always the interesting part. When starting on 24, I was in campus, and I will tell you honestly, we are a family of 8 kids, so we don't have the luxury of money. So I think I'm talking for most people, how people think when they're starting their business. Not most of us get the luxury of being funded by our parents. Like Washeke, I can say she was so lucky. She got the family pumped in 500K. I'm like, wow. So for me and many others, when I was in campus, Juja, everyone who's in JKUAT Juja, the life in Juja. I think I was in campus in 2015. So in 2015, the life in campus was really, really easy and cheap. So I used to live, anyone knows around Gate B. Gate B is where the broke people stay. So we are a family of 8 people. So my parents kind of have to take care of everyone. So I remember I used to live in Gate B, where the rent was Kenya shillings, 2,800 per month. So there's this particular month around July, I took my rent money, which was 2,400 actually. 2,400 was my rent money. And that time is when M-Shwari was starting. So I took a loan of 2,400. So the total amount that I used to start this business that you're seeing, is Kenya shillings 4,800. So with this 4,800, the way you have an idea, you think it's cool, then everyone else, you think that in everyone's head, they will see it the same way as you're seeing it. So with this 4,800, I went to River Road. Those days, the only place you could find is River Road. Then I bought t-shirts. They were really low quality t-shirts and hoodies. a hoodie and a sweatshirt. Then I went to a friend of mine. I Googled on, I think that time I Googled, then went to a friend of mine, showed him the logo, because, you know, that time I used to do calligraphy. So this logo that you see, the Home 24 logo, I actually drew it on paper before actualizing it. So I took it to him. Then he managed to actualize it for me to become whatever it is today. Then we printed, that time we didn't know the logo dimensions, and we were just patching our logos on t-shirts. So I went there and found people were already doing 254 stuff. I could see all kinds of 254, but no one was doing home. And within that time, people used to make fun of us, like, what is home? Like, are you selling homes, or are you doing, like, what's that? So trying to explain to people, it was really, really difficult. And, you know, in Kenya, when people see something, they will either intimidate you, or they will start making jokes or fun about it. So it depends. So with whatever I bought, the t-shirts and the sweatshirts and the hoodies, I went back to class. And, you know, there was no Thika superhighway. So when you come to town, when you go back to Thika, there's so much traffic. So I went back to class and showed my friends, like, you guys, I started this thing. I'm selling t-shirts, and I'm selling, you guys, can you? So I had rich friends. That time other friend of mine was selling bundles. At the time, people were selling bundles, me too. So there are some friends of mine who had so much money. So one bought a t-shirt and a sweatshirt, then another one bought a t-shirt. But those t-shirts were so low quality. Ukivaa, it was as if it's in a hunyonga, as in you can't even breathe. But they just bought because they wanted to support me. So after seeing them buying those, I used the same, that time, I didn't even know how much I'm making. I just knew that, as in, you want to sell, I used to check how much people are selling the products online. So I put the same amount. I didn't know these same people were the ones producing it. So they are not incurring other expenses. So they can sell as little as they can. But that time it was not all about profit. It was that just seeing someone wearing my stuff. So I sold to them. Then I got excited. Then after selling to them, I thought that all my other classmates are going to make an order, because we are like 28. I don't know nowadays how many people are in one class, but for that time, we were only 28 students in one class. So apparently none of them bought the products. None could even understand what I was trying to sell. But I usually say this one thing. There's this one lady, she used to be my crush in campus. So this lady told me, wow, I love the concept. Can I get a hoodie and a t-shirt and a sweatshirt for my sister and my mom? I was like, wait, you are making an order from me. You know, I had to, after I sold all the ones that I had to my friends, I remember my friend, this was Jarvis, Gerald, and Maria at that time. Then I took the money again and went back to town, bought more sweatshirts and hoodies for this lady. So I brought them, I brought them to her. You know, this journey from Juja to town, it's tiresome. You can come back and you've only made like 30 shillings profit. Like, you only make 30 shillings. You go, you come back. And you've wasted time, you've missed class. And if you miss one class, an engineering class, one class, it's like you've missed a whole semester. So for me, I didn't get any money pumped in. It's these selling and putting in back the money, selling and putting back the money. And I can tell my whole story. So fast forwarding, I've been doing that for 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, till today. No, till last year, we were still just pumping in money from our profits. We were just bringing in money. We have never taken a loan. For me, I believe like starting small and growing step by step is the way to go. I think one thing that we do in terms of funding, we want to compare our step 2 with someone else's step 100. So when you're starting a business, unangalia, like someone now maybe starting a fashion business, they want to look where Home 24 is right now, instead of looking where Home 24 was maybe 1 year ago or 1 year when they were starting. So that's the thing that gives us pressure. So what we tend to do, we try to find shortcuts on getting where we are right now. So, and for us, I usually take step by step. I remember those days, there was no luxury, any luxury. And still till today, we are trying to avoid that because we're still putting in money, the money that the business makes, we're still putting it back into the business. So Waithaka, in terms of funding for Home 254, we have funded ourselves till the point where we are right now.
So JB, there was a real turning point for Home 254 when it went from being you and your pals, guys at university, to something that went beyond that. Talk to us about what happened in that flip point.
So when first of all, when my grades started dipping, I went and told my dad that I remember there's a night I went and sat my dad down, an African parent, just to tell them, Dad, I think that I want to stop going to school. I don't want to do engineering anymore. This was my 4th year. What my dad told me, like, you are not leaving school. I watch engineering when manguo. You are going back to school, and he paid the fee for the whole year and said, if you want to leave school, you just leave school. But never say that I didn't pay for your school fees. That's why you failed in life. So what I did, I went back to school, started concentrating on school, and I left this on the side just a little. I finished my school, graduated in JQuat, got my engineering degree, then I just took it to him. Then after that, I've never even, that booklet, I've never even seen it. So I started putting my time into the business. So the flipping point was, I was just selling the hoodies the way I'm selling. I buy the ready-made hoodies, I sell. I don't care about the profit, as long as I have fare to go back and to school, and and I was operating from my parents' home. We lived in Karioko, so we had the benefit of being close to town. It's like a walking distance. So I never used to take matatus because it's 50 shillings. So I never used to take matatus. So I used to go to town, buy the stuff. Then one day something happened. Just doing this, there's a lady who wanted to gift Jibril. So what happened? This lady saw I used to post these things so much on Facebook. I never stopped. Even today, the thing that I was doing since 2015, we have never stopped. If you ever check our page, each and every day, you'll never find less than 15 stories, both on our kids page and our every single day without fail. For the past, how many years now? 8 years. We have never stopped, and we are never stopping. So while posting that, there's a lady who wanted to give Jibril a hoodie. Then she saw what we are selling. Those things were low quality, I will not lie to you. But she liked the logo and the concept. She just saw it and understood. So she got him 3 hoodies. Then what happened? Jibril wore this hoodie on Churchill Show. And that time, Churchill Show was the biggest show on NTV. Everyone was watching. Then it was noticed. That time, you're not even in it. You're just still doing it for fun. Then after that, Jibril contacted me, and I saw like, wow, a celebrity is contacting me, asking me about the hoodies. And remember, these hoodies were low quality. I can tell you, or maybe because I'm comparing them with now, those hoodies were not good. So after us being visible on Churchill Show, that's when the business went boom. Remember, and this time I can even tell you up to today, not more than 3 people from my class have bought Home 254. I will not lie to you. They're not even more than 4. Let me say less than 5 people. People who spent 6 years in school together. So how do strangers come and help you build a business that people who you spend 6 years with or your friends cannot support you? And I can tell you, even the advantage that I had is I worked with my brothers, all my brothers at that time. So the flipping point when we were seeing Churchill Show, then everyone started ordering via Facebook and stuff. Facebook was Facebook that time. As we go, these social media platforms I don't know if they lose value or people stop interacting with it, because the social media space is changing. It's more of, I don't know what it's changing to, but it gets harder and harder to do business on social media because of scams, because of all those things that are happening. But on that, we got that visibility. People started ordering. We started doing the bad things. We didn't have a space. And you never want a client to know where you do your stuff. So when a client is coming to pick up stuff, you tell them to wait for you. I remember there was a roast house. You tell them to wait for you outside roast house. You go do your stuff there, then you bring them the package because you don't want to show them the sauce. Because once a client knows the sauce, they will never buy from you again. So, so we do. Then we bring it to the clients. Then they actually open the package on the beside the road, then put it back, and they go with it. And that time, I remember our hoodies were going for 1,600, which I think we were making only 200 bob or 300 bob per hoodie. And the t-shirts were going for 800 bob, which you're only making, I think, 150. But I didn't care about that. It's just the passion and the drive that people are buying this stuff. Then as we continued moving, that's where we came to, and the way Waithaka was saying, perfect your craft. So we were perfecting hoodies and t-shirts. That time, we're not even concentrating on something else. That was our theme, hoodies and t-shirts only. You know, the way you want to do hoodies, t-shirts, skirts, I don't know what, we were not doing that.
Yeah.
Hoodies and t-shirts, till we perfected that. Then after that, JBeeBura introduced us to Coke Studio 2019. Coke Studio was a very big thing. We did Coke. You remember this time we were still doing the money coming in is the money that you are. So we were not paying rent because I was living in my parents' house. And I'll tell you one thing, I lived in my parents' house till I was 29 years. I was never moving that. I didn't want any expenses like rent and everything. I didn't care about what people were telling me about you're living with your parents and you're old. So I used to just go and just do the stuff. Then when we took our stuff to Coke Studio, we took them to, that's when I met Avril. I know Avril has been the face of the brand for the longest time. Everyone knows Avril as the face of the brand. So after that, that's where something happened at Coke Studio. So during Coke Studio, these people loved the hoodies. At that time, I know I've skipped some part of it. That time I already did research and got another person to supply me hoodies. So they were giving better quality than the previous person. The previous person did not change his quality. So this other person gave better quality. But this person did not want to give us, they were limiting us in the terms of what they are selling to us. So during that time at Coke Studio, that's where we had our moment. Coke Studio, it was December 2019. We got an order from Coke Studio that they wanted over, I think, was it 500 hoodies? This is me. I've never done more than, I was doing maybe 5 hoodies a week. These people loved the kind of work we did. They gave, and the thing is, maybe you're asking where we got the money to get these 500 hoodies. The thing is, this person liked our whatever we were doing. So they gave us money to do the first part. Like a deposit. They paid us a deposit for us to be able to do this. Do you know those hoodies, the space, at that time we had gotten this small space that we cannot even enter 2 people in town. That space was too small. So we are doing these hoodies and the hoodies could not even fit that room. So we borrowed an extra outside room. We could not even, we did that hoodie and we were paid. I'd never seen so much money in my life. It's not that much money. Maybe I'd never seen such money ever because, you know, we didn't grow up loaded or anything. So that was the place that everything changed after receiving that money. And for us, for me, I cut out, that time I was not even checking luxury or anything. Everything, I was living the simple. I was still walking from home to town. I was still bringing every single shilling I get back into the business. I didn't change my lifestyle. I didn't move out from our home. I moved out on my 30th birthday, which was only 2 years ago. Actually 2 years ago, yeah, I moved out on my 30th birthday. So that money, I saw that check written. They didn't even ask us questions. Just love. That's the time we dressed all the artists from Africa with our hoodies. Wow. Yeah, so that was a turning point. And this guy who supplied me those hoodies stopped doing the hoodie business. So I asked him for the contact of his supplier. So since he stopped, so we're not competitors. So he gave me the contact of his supplier. So that time, with the money I got from Coke Studio, I managed to travel to China. This is the first time I'd even seen a plane, boarded a plane. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. The only thing I remember, I usually felt like, I usually saw on the internet, like if people fly out, they have to get this bracelet. So I went to karaoke and bought this bracelet because I knew that. So I went to China knowing nothing. The only thing I knew was one single name of a university in China that were doing fashion. So that's the only thing I knew. And this guy told me, if you get this university, from there you can get everything else. I don't know anyone. I don't even have a good phone for, it's called what, because language barrier and stuff. I'm telling you, it was a culture shock, life, everything was messed up. As in, I didn't know what I was doing. But that's the time that I went to China for 10 days, looking for suppliers, getting lost, losing money, being conned. All these things happened. But finally, I got a supply in China, built relationships, then I came back to the country. So those relationships are what I've been growing since then till today. But one thing I've not yet done, I've not changed. I've just changed the lifestyle a little bit because of the image of a CEO now. But if I had to keep low key, and you know me, I've been keeping low key for the longest time, so that I can bring the money back into the business. We bring the profits of the business back to the business. One thing I learned at Centonomy, which really helped me, is the business money is not my money. That's the business money. And I remember I could not afford the Centonomy class, actually. Centonomy gave me a partial scholarship, and the other balance I paid for a long time because I didn't have money. And I'm grateful for that, Waithaka. So I learned that
JB, because we're running out of time. Can I bother you for a second?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying this, and I want to continue, but I want to capture something, if you don't mind, right? So I know what people are hearing from you is you made sacrifices and you are passionate enough to see this thing through. Like you said, come hell or high water, I'm going to get this thing to work, right? So, I mean, when we come to your store now there in town, and it looks like we're entering an Apple store here in Nairobi, we see something completely different, and you made some choices around that, right? So that you're not where you were at the very beginning. If you don't mind, if I can ask you, what are is funding really the problem? Probably not. You've answered that. You said that you started where you are and you used what you're able to come through. So what have been the challenges you have faced as an entrepreneur? If you can give us 2 of those challenges that you think, if you had known, you could have handled better. All these guys who are listening to you, 300 of us who are in this session, what would you advise, those challenges and how you overcame them, please?
My biggest challenge is what just happened recently this year. And I think most of the people here saw it. The biggest challenge is, I'll tell you my number one, and I'll just put it point blank. The biggest challenge that I've faced is working with family. It is good, it has its advantages at the beginning, but as the business grows, it's a big, big challenge if you don't have structures in place. If you don't have structures in place, working with family can be hell. And people out there will not be able to differentiate between personal family relationships and business relationships. Sometimes I had to make the hardest decision in my life, in business this year. It was the hardest decision I had to make. But as a CEO, I had to make those decisions. And after doing that, I knew that I had to put structures in place. So another thing I had to do, I had to cancel all my international trips this year because I had to be there for my business to build structures so that I can be able to move around now and do other things. The other challenge is fearing that people will never leave you. Trust me, people will leave you. Some will leave, and I've even had someone who stayed the business for 2 weeks and she left after going through all the onboarding process, doing everything. People will leave you. And when they leave you, you need, the other thing is you need to identify your key positions in a business and think about, like, if this person decides to leave today, what will you do in that position? Because my challenge was, at first, when I remember the first time someone said they're leaving, I'm telling you, Waithaka, I did not sleep that night because I had no plan, I had nothing. So this person left, and it was challenging to find a replacement. So now what we are doing right now, if anyone is starting a business right now, please start with the processes and the manuals and everything. Because it's crazy. And the other challenge you are facing is it's in the financial part. This was a mistake on my side. I never used to check my accounts. I never used to check my financial side. So I knew the business was profitable and everything, but I didn't know, I could not account for anything that's happening in the business. Just being told, pay this, pay that, do this. And that's a very, I'm telling you the two challenges that I've faced. And I can relate to you. For me, I've never been employed anywhere. So I'm doing this from the scratch, as in I've not been employed anywhere. So I am learning in the business. And when I tell you that, I'm telling you it's true. Now I'm in a place where I can actually say we are making profit and I can see it. That time you're just seeing numbers, but you don't know where the money is. You don't know where the money is. But as for now, so if anyone is starting a business, please start with the processes. Do the process as you go, because the way the business grows, it would be hard to control everything. And me as an entrepreneur, the other thing is, me as an entrepreneur, what I learned is, let me do what I do best. And for me, what I do best is storytelling and branding. So in terms of financial, I get someone who I can trust and someone who can tell me this and this and this direction you need to move. So what I'm not good at, I look for someone who is very good at it. And I'm still looking like that. I'm not telling you that. I'm still looking for people who are best in things that I'm not good at, things that I will not put my hands in that. Yeah, so those are my challenges, and I don't want to say more challenges as people say that I don't know what, I don't know. I think people have had that. But these are challenges that we don't really talk about.
Yeah. JB, where next for Home 254? I mean, everyone needs to visit your store. Tell us where it is and what's next for Home 254 moving forward.
Oh, what's next for Home 254? Yesterday, one of the things I was looking at, which people don't know maybe about Home 254, is you've done like over 15 partnerships to some of the biggest brands over here. So our biggest partnership was with a company in Australia, which was really good. They contacted us. We managed to do 150 Zuma jackets, our latest design, to a university in Australia because they want to look good. And we managed to do this. We managed to do this within a period of 9 days. We've never done that. And they were so happy. That's my biggest flex this quarter. And the other thing is, we are moving from that old store. Now we're opening a flagship store. I'm saying flagship because it's a flagship store. We're opening this will be one of the how do you say, stores that you'll get you don't even believe it's a Kenyan store because you'll get the amazing customer experience in that store. The store will be going up on 1st of June. We'll be launching it and opening it 1st of June. And I'm telling you, I'm having the hardest time right now because we need to figure things out. We need to put technology, we need to put everything. But I'm telling you, this will be one of the greatest stores that you've seen from a Kenyan brand, 100% made in Kenya. And we're sticking to that, made in Kenya. So now we're located at Kenya House Complex on Koinange Street. Maybe you can visit the store and see it and see the one that you'll be moving to in the next few days. Yeah,
bro,
and
1st of June, where are we coming?
Yeah.
1st of June, where are we coming?
1st of June, first of all, it's I'm trying to avoid the location because we don't want so many people.
Oh,
but it's
no. There I am telling everybody don't worry, we'll find you. Fear not, bro. Fear not. Cutting shots, give guys some last piece of advice before we close up.
Last piece of advice is just start small. Start small so that you can understand all angles of your business, so that when you expand, you understand the marketing side, you understand the finance aspect, you understand so that when you're giving people who are really good at doing that things, you also have an idea of what happens in those spaces. And don't try to compare your first step to someone else's step 100. It will, let me tell you, we use that. I'm not supposed to say this here because we use that to intimidate people for us. So what we usually do is, if we notice that people are looking at us, we usually use that to intimidate, because obviously we don't want competitors, but I want people to grow to grow their business. I want to support entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. But one thing, don't try to compare yourself when you're starting to someone else who has been in the game for more than 8 years or 5 years. You understand your own space and how you're doing it, move at your own space, find out their weaknesses, then use that to create your own business. I'll tell you that because now when the Goliaths are growing, they're not focusing, they're not specializing the way Waithaka said. Now you specialize in one thing and grow it so big that now we can start noticing you. That's my parting shot.
JB, there are so many questions that are coming through in the Q&A. If you can go to the Q&A and answer a couple of them, it would be really powerful. First of all, guys, let's give JB a hand if we can online. Just say thank you, and I can see all the thank yous that are coming from. I'm so humbled that you gave us this time. I know being an online session, it wasn't your passion, but you said, I will work through it, and you did. We are so grateful, and we're so proud of you as Centonomy alumni. We really appreciate that you keep coming and giving back the way you've done. God bless you, bro. And yeah, guys, let's be customers. Home 254, I told you, it's no joke. We are one of them along the way. And yeah, we bought all the hoodies and stuff for my sis in Australia. So you still have more things that are going on that side.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone.
No worries, guys. So put your question in the chat box. JB, if you can, just have a look at the ones that you can answer there as we go. And somebody was asking there in the chat box, when you talk about structures and strategies, so this is what it means. There's a process to which what JB is talking about. So there's the design. So how does it look? So how do we do designs that are going to make sense for people? Okay, so how do we multiply those designs? Good. So how do we get the right designs in the space that we are? JB will talk about every month or every so often they have a different color option. What color options? What's the process for introducing new color options? Where do we source this? So you have now a supply chain process that you're going to get through. Good. Now that you've gotten the source, you've gotten the materials, how do you reach out to the new customers? If you look at Home 254's social media, there's, as JB was saying, there's content daily. Just like Centonomy, we work so that there's consistent content on our platforms so that people are always aware on what's going on. So when we talk about the processes, that's what the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program is going to give you. As JB said, get it before you get into that space. Because if you understand the processes and you match that to your passion and your speciality, you're going to see a difference that you have never seen before in your life. And it's really powerful when you match your passion to the skill of running a business. And we will help you to see what that overlap looks like and how it can play out in your business. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, we've got our next speaker, Mr. Samuel Gikonyo. He's a co-founder of Afropeak Beauty Limited. He's one of the alumni of the program, and he's going to tell you what his experience was like. Sam, if you don't mind, kindly switch on your camera and your mic so that we can hear your story as we close this out. Hi, bro.
Hi, how are you?
Zuri. Tell these people.
I've had so many interesting stories today. I don't even know what to say.
Tell them your story. Everyone came to listen to the chats that we have. Tell them your story and the story of Afropeak and the experience you had at Centonomy. Karibu.
Thank you so much. My name is Samuel, as you've heard. I'm a co-founder at Afropeak Beauty. And I just want to thank Centonomy for also this amazing opportunity to share our business story and as well hopefully inspire someone today to start their business or find confidence in whatever situation that they're handling. So for us, I remember the business started in 2019, started with one product. It was founded actually initially by Clara and Jeru, who's not present today. She's handling some customers' orders today. for Mother's Day sale. So if you're interested in hair products, hair accessories, we have a sale. So I'll plug you in on that one today. So one of the things that we really enjoyed in the Centonomy class was structure and strategy. I think that's something that can't be discussed enough even in this session. So I hope you're all gonna sign up to the class and get to see what we mean by structure and strategy, because like right now I'm able to be here and we are still able to run the business successfully, running the sales, because everyone, when they hear there's a sale, they want to jump on board, but we are consistently having our deliveries being dished out because we have a supportive team and everyone knows what they're supposed to do. So I would say that was a very important class. And the beauty about also structure and strategy class was learning that businesses don't fail because the idea was a bad idea. It's because of how it was executed by the team. So that is very important. One of my favorite sessions as well was working capital, where we got to know, which I feel like you need to know your numbers. Look at it like a story on how your business is, how it behaves, and what the journey that the business is taking. Don't look at it like a bunch of balance sheets, Excel sheets. Look at it because that way you're able to understand what your business is, where it's going, and also what decisions that you need to do to make the business grow. So I don't take so much of your time. I think Waithaka can proceed, but thank you so much.
Sam, if you can, before and after Centonomy, what were the major differences as far as your business is concerned?
Major businesses, major changes. We had no idea what we were doing when the business started. When we started with one product, we were selling, but we didn't know how much profit we were making. We had no structures in place. So there was a lot of confrontation. But after attending the class, I'd say we got to understand who's good at doing what, where we can outsource like assistants, like having an accountant, spare time, just to help us look at our books. Also knowing who's good at procuring, who's good at all marketing as well. So we've built a team since 2019, and I think that was a major shift for us because now I can focus on my personal responsibilities, but share a common goal with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and let me tell you guys, there's nothing like understanding the game. So in the class, I'll just share with you just now in the class, and that's what Samuel is talking about when we do strategy and structure and talk about, as he said, accounting and all the other programs, the other modules that we go through. What it does is where we started this session, it gives you an overview of your business so that you understand what each knob, that's what Samuel is talking about. If I know what pricing does to profitability, if I know what profitability does to investment, if I know what investment does to the marketing process, and expansion, you see, each one of those are knobs that as you as an entrepreneur, you turn them to help you to move in the direction that you want. And many times when you're project managers, that's what Samuel, we're just the same. When you're project manager, you know how to buy the product, to package it, to sell it, that part. So you've got the supply chain maybe in place, but the marketing, you don't know. Profitability, pricing, you don't know what the overall accounting, you don't know how to pay yourselves at that point. What this program is going to do for you is give you that overview so that you don't have to learn. Here's how human beings have continued to be successful over time. When you learn from others, you don't have to go through the pain of learning it yourself. So when you're sitting in the class and you're learning from entrepreneurs, all the trainers we got are in business themselves or have run a business themselves, so that they're not talking theory, they're talking from experience. That allows you to, rather than to face the problem and then solve it, someone has gone through it so that we're not reinventing the wheel. So that now watch what happened. In a couple of minutes, when I showed you an Excel sheet and I said, if James only makes 100 cakes. He has not created a profit. Suddenly, you realize James has to sell what? More than 100 cakes, and you put together a target. What does that mean? Now you have to figure out, how do I sell 200 cakes in a month? Then you realize, if I have to sell 200 cakes for this business to be profitable, then what does that mean? It means then I have to figure out a way to sell 10 cakes at a time, not one to everybody on the side. So each one of those knobs, as I said, like you're a DJ and you're trying to bring all the sounds in the same place, gives you the smoothness of your business to get you to that point. Guys, can we put our hands together for Samuel for sharing his experience and what else? Hey, Sam, how can we reach out to Aprotech? How can we get to
we
see
have
you
a
guys?
website, so I'll share it on the group chat.
Afropeak Beauty.
Yes, afropeakbeauty.com. And I just want to say thank you to Centonomy, because you guys shed a lot of light. Like, it's not just about building a business, but also having fun with it. Not looking at the Excel sheet like just a bunch of numbers, but also understanding where the business is and also where you want to take it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure. Guys, give Sam a hand in the chat box. Now we go to the questions. I know there were quite a few that had come through. Even as you get ready to make your registration, just remember, the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program is a 14-week online program. You come for one class per week, either on Wednesday evening or Saturday morning at a time like this, East African time. It's about building great businesses that will outlast you and don't need you. We want you to work yourself out of a job. So we're going straight to the Q&A section. I'm going to try and answer as many of the questions as we possibly can. As we do, please take a quick screenshot so that you make your registration. Thank you. I can see a couple of people saying already registered. Good. See you in class. Yes. We shall see you in class for sure. Yes, registration is all that you need to do for today. 1,000 shillings registration, and then the rest will be payable in installments. So you pay 1,000 shillings today, and then the rest of the fee, which is 60,000, you pay it in 3 monthly installments, 2020, 21, 21, 18. Every month for the 3 months that you're with us. Remember, we talked about cash flow as being an issue. That's what we're doing to help you with your cash flows along the way so that you can be able to get across the finish line. So take a quick screenshot or write the details there. M-Pesa pay bill 986850. When you're writing the account, put your name and ENT on it, and then we'll recognize that. If you're paying through the bank, those are the details. If you're making a payment through the bank, and you're outside of Kenya, it will be $10 to register, 10 USD. Email us the transaction, okay? You'll email to ruby@centonomy.com. You can see there on the bottom. You email that transaction on email, the one that you do via the bank, then we'll reach out to you. If you use M-Pesa, we have your phone number and we'll just be able to reach out to you directly and give you all the details as we set up for the class. Don't miss out on that discount for registration right now. Make sure you take advantage of it even as we go forward, all right? So I'll keep those details on the screen a little bit so as we can go through. So what's your take on taking a loan to start a business? So there's some issues around what kind of loan you want to take, all right? So if it is a bank loan or a financial institution loan, it comes with obligations for payments immediately, all right? The problem with a business is that most businesses take time to begin to get to the break-even point and giving a profit so that they can, the consistent cash flow allows you as a business to pay it back. That's an issue. So if your primary source of income is when there's from the sales of the business, then taking a loan, from financial services offerings may not be the best idea because you must pay back immediately. Now, can you borrow from friends and family? Yes, because friends and family tend to give you what our South African brother, Mr. Buzi Tembekwayo, talks about. They give you patient money. What does that mean? So if your family lends you some cash, they're not going to say, pay me back immediately, or God willing, they won't. So if they're those ones who are saying, pay me back immediately like a bank, stay away from them. If they are those who willing to give you that cash for a period of time, then it may be one of those that you can be able to use. As I answer that, I wanted to just to mention from JB's perspective. You know, JB said, I never got an investment from my parents. JB, I want to tell you, you lived in your parents' house till age 30. That was a huge investment. Imagine if you are paying rent for those 7, 8 years that you are running the business, add up the rent costs and probably some food costs and other things that are there for that period of time, and you'll see an investment from your folks. I have to give JB a hard time about that. Seriously, guys, working from a space, having a space to work from is a major investment. And so let's make sure we don't miss out on that. Harry Ocheng is asking, can you start 2 businesses at the same time and succeed in both? Yes. Is it easy? No. Simple, and a simple answer to that. What happens if you see 2 great opportunities? Most of the time we would give the advice. Most of the time, listen to what I'm saying. I didn't say 100%, but most of the time, focus is a vital part of success in whatever you're talking about, most of the time. However, there are occurrences and people who are able to manage 2 opportunities at the same time. What does that mean? They have the strategy and structure that allows them to delegate so that they take advantage of those opportunities. But let me tell you this, it's draining. It's a lot of work to get just one business off the ground. So 2 is hard. Is it possible? Yes. Okay. Agnes is asking, what structures have you put in place? I don't know if JB is still in there. I think I saw him there. Let me just check one more time, even as we go through. JB, around. If you can, do you mind answering that question? Yeah.
I was responding to a few, but I have to give like right now. I don't know if you're going to do that.
Yeah. I was going to ask, you've mentioned that you decided to have your brothers as your main supporting team. How do you deal with conflicts in the workplace, especially around families? How are you able to overcome and move past any misunderstanding?
Oh, so nowadays, let me answer that before I leave. So nowadays, before we onboard someone, or when you started putting something in place, are you
able to put on your camera, JB?
Okay, yes. So before, back then we were just telling people just come, we work together. We didn't understand people's personalities, people different, people have different personalities. And this generation, millennials and Generation Z, when they meet, it's totally different. So nowadays what we do, when we onboard you, there's a form we give you to fill, where we'll ask some personal questions, even on how do you want us to address you when you make a mistake? How would you like to be appreciated? Are you the kind of unapenda pesa ama unapenda tu kupatiwa sifa? You see, we want to understand how you are as a person, what you need. So that when there's conflict, we know how to address you. Maybe you're the kind of person who likes to be called on the side and talks to. Some people don't mind if they're being told in front of their friends, so that if they change, their friends can notice or their colleagues can notice. So they're different people. So in terms of conflict, we just don't do it publicly. We usually say one thing. In the other people's eyes, outside the brand, we support each other and have each other's back. But when you come back for a meeting and settle, when it's just us, you tell people point blank what they did wrong, and we don't spare them. But out there, I can't tell people like, that hoodie has a mistake because George or Angela did a mistake and they did this wrong. No, I'll be like, I just tried his best to make that hoodie to be so perfect, but something that's happened, I will take fault on that and we'll fix it. There I support you. But now inside the company, we have to, like, what did you do? How did you do this? How did you miss this? You see, but people never know that, because that's how we address conflict. And people in the business, people will try to understand, and they know you have their back out there and inside. So people start being disciplined and just do things in the right way. And according to Agnes, she has asked about structures. We just give people the right KPIs. We give people the guidance. We give people the growth plans. Like when you're working with us, it's not, I usually tell people, it's not only about making the company profitable and grow the company. You as a person, which direction are you growing? Which direction do you want to grow? This is the position you're doing a customer service and sales. Where do you see yourself in this company in 2 years? Then we try to put a structure in place or help you grow towards that stage. Because maybe someone says, I'm working at but one day I want to be a sales lead. I want to be a business development. So, and with us, Home 24, we are so lucky we get so much support from external training programs, cohorts, and all those things. We sent programs, we usually get those. So when I'm doing this, I don't go alone. I usually say, if I'm coming for this program, I have to come with my team, because we promise that we make your personal growth our priority too. So because if you grow personally, you also grow the business. Because you see, when I came for a Centonomy program and my team did not join, so for me, my thinking way is different from them. So I will always see them that, why can't someone just understand this simple concept? But for me, I didn't understand it till I went for this. So nowadays I take my team and go through the same programs with them, so that we can also be on this. And if someone decides to leave, at least they'll say one day at Home 24, I managed to grow this. So we're putting like, this is the way, if we're onboarding a new employee, this is the way it's supposed to be done. If you are getting a new order, this is the way it's supposed to be done. If a client is complaining, this is the way it's supposed to be done. And while you're putting those structures in place, we'll have so many things going. The people who are going to leave, because when you put structures in place, it exposes people. The people who are just there, just dilly-dallying, will be exposed and they will walk away. Please, I felt bad when the first 5 people are walking away, or people just like, "Apa imekuwa too much." Because now, and you see, us putting structures in place, I remember a long time we were working so low hours, but now we are still achieving double of what we were achieving, but now our hours are really, really short. So structures really, really help. You get your time, you get everything. Yeah, so that's what you're trying to do.
Guys, we've gone 30 minutes over the time we could go for another hour or so having this discussion. It's been amazing. We appreciate you for giving us your time, and we want to see you in the class, because you can imagine if this is a discussion we've had and we've not even finished one session of a normal class, you can imagine the experience that you're going to have. Make that registration. The class starts on the 7th of June. And remember, it's only one class per week, so you either attend on Wednesday or Saturday, although we found many guys come for class twice, just to make sure they got the full experience from it. 7th of June, make the registration today, 1,000 bob. Take advantage of that registration discount. You get 1,000 shillings off for $10 off. It's only $10 if you're outside of Kenya. And once you've registered, we'll reach out to you so that we can make sure that you have all the material, the preparation, the orientation to get into the class. And exactly what JB is talking about. When we do, like, for instance, the strategy and structure class, we have a session called process mapping. Everything you do is a process, because we've had many entrepreneurs saying, nobody can do it like me. I always hire people and they don't do it properly, because you didn't train them. What you do is a process, and you find people who can work through that process, and we help you with how to do that in your strategy and structure session. Guys, this is a life-transforming program, and we want to see you there, so take advantage of it. It has been a pleasure to host you here at Centonomy. We always love doing this. To everyone on Facebook, on YouTube, thank you so much for watching and being part of the discussion, and the questions that are coming through, really meaningful. For all of you on Zoom here, it has been a pleasure. May God bless you. Let's build great businesses and build Africa. God bless. Take care, guys.